Hey there, Shooby Doodlers, how are you doing? Well, today I'm going to show you how to draw Archbishop Desmond TuTu. So I'm going to try and help myself a bit here by drawing a circle for the kind of brain box. And I'm going to do a third and a third just to give me a feeling of where I roughly am. And I'm going to add another third down there. I'm going to draw two tangents straight down there like that. And then bring that just down a bit below that line like that. So this will be a chin coming there, and then just above here will be the bridge of a pair of glasses, sort of something like that. And then we're going to want this very wide and flat nose that sort of comes down in a bit of a point like that. And we had these extraordinary cheeks which sort of come out like that and into there. So then we'll know where the mouth goes, because that sort of comes in with this bottom line of the curve. And we're going to want to have a little curve like that, and then the lips will be there, and his teeth are slightly wonky, so they're a bit ground down on that side from sitting in conferences and listening to idiots talking probably and having to smile, but I'm going to give him little smiling eyes like that, and then his cheeks are kind of up there as well. And we've got these kind of lines going up there. And then these cheeks will come down into little dimples sort of about there. And we'll get an extra line coming down there. Now his hair will sort of come in a little bit and then back in around like that a bit. And then it's sort of quite close to the crop, to quite closely cropped. And then we'll sort of come out at that angle, and then an ear, and then we'll want to have the lapels of a coat, and they'll sort of come out like that, out there, down and in, and then we'll want a little V shape there, and then we're going to want to have a dog collar there. This again is not quite feeling right somehow, but maybe it will come together when I ink it in. Now the reason I'm doing this is because, well, yesterday we had the sad news that Archbishop Tutu, the Arch, had died, and I wanted to do this as a tribute because he used to teach me at school, which sounds extraordinary. So back in the 1960s, then the Reverend Tutu was, I think, fairly newly ordained and sort of learning his trade, and came over to England with his family for a year or so, and was a year or two maybe, and he was the curate at Bletchingley Church in Surrey, which was the parish church of the boarding school I went to. And we would go in a crocodile file down to the church, up to the church. I always felt it was more up to the church. And we would file up to the church on a Sunday. And then one new term we came, and there was this extraordinary new person in the pulpit who was funny and enigmatic and lively and energetic, and then the school must have invited him to come and teach scripture, which was a subject in those days, and so he did, and he would sort of come and teach us and read us stories, Bible stories, and talk about Bible stuff. And he was just a fantastic, again, energetic, inspirational reader and performer of Bible stories. And we all loved him. And his son was in my class too, and I cannot remember what his name was because none of us used our first names at school in those days. So I was just known as Rayner, and that's how it was. I think we were all being trained to join the military eventually or something, and getting used to, or maybe going to prison. I don't know. So we would just get used to knowing our names and numbers. And but I do remember that he was very sporty, which is why we probably weren't particularly friendly, because I was never terribly sporty. But I do remember him on the cricket pitch. A very elegant cricket player, sweeping fours down to the leg, and probably won matches against other schools single-handedly. He was a very, very elegant cricket player, as I remember. And I have no idea what this is going to turn out like, because I've done several versions of this already. This is feeling a little bit better. If I was just spending my time drawing, well, for one thing, I would be drawing not on the flat with the camera and the microphone, and I'd have the paper at an angle, and I would be sort of taking longer, and I wouldn't be having to explain what I was doing, and I wouldn't have to be thinking about how to explain it either. So all the time you're concentrating about that, you're not quite concentrating on the drawing itself enough. So I am getting my Aquash water brush, and I'm getting a piece of kitchen towel, which is very useful. The water is in the handle, it flows through the brush, so it works slightly differently to a normal brush. And these are Winsor & Newton colours, and so if I squeeze the brush a bit, some water drips out, and I can then clean the palette. And as I say, you just dib dab to clean the end of the brush. And I'm going to get burnt sienna here. These are all Winsor & Newton colours. So I'll zoom in a bit. There we are. And I'm just going to paint in what I think are going to be the kind of the most shaded areas. I'm going to want to leave little bits of white there on the cheeks as reflections of light, shininess on where because he smiles so much that his cheeks are kind of drum tight and shiny. Now, having done that, I'm just going to clean the brush, so I get clean water. I'm just brushing clean water in there like that, so that I can fade the colour into it. And here, I'll just get some solid colour. Move that over there. I'll just get some solid colour from the pan. Those little colours are called pans, and then I just drop it in. I better do the ears as well, hadn't I? Drop it into the areas that I feel should be shaded. And I'm not copying a photograph particularly, but I've looked at several photographs and sort of amalgamated them to try and get a nous, what I call a nous, a feeling of the person rather than a copy of a photograph or a direct, portrait. So I'm trying to do two things. I'm trying to sort of show you how to do it, but I'm trying to create this kind of feeling of Archbishop Tutu, the Arch. So I'm going to get alizarin crimson to do his shirt, which is that kind of Archbishop shirt colour. Or bishop. I think it's just bishop, isn't it? I think, but anyway. So I remember the last assembly at school before he went back to South Africa, and I think he'd sort of, not a sermon, but he'd read something, you know, from the Bible for us or something. And then the head teacher got up and said, you know, now boys, I want you all to explain. It was a boys' school. He said, I want you I want you all to understand that, and say, I want us all to say goodbye to Reverend Tutu, and I want you all to understand that when he goes back to South Africa, he's going to live a very different life. And he said that when he gets off the plane, he will have to separate and go in a different queue and go through a different gate, and all the white people will go through one gate, and all the black people will go through the other gate, and he will have to join them, and he will live a very, very different life, not like he does here. And that made quite an impression on me, and my head teacher would probably be quite pleased to know that. Not that he's alive anymore, but that something made an impression on me at school, and that certainly did. And years later, suddenly there was then Archbishop Tutu on the news, marching at the front of a anti-apartheid demonstration. I think, wow. And you know, no question that was him. And when they were talking to him, there was that cheeky smile and laugh, and yeah. So I kind of watched his progress with interest over the years. You know, as a kind of feel, you know, oh, I knew him. So I thought I would do this today, but I'm not sure. It's so difficult to get him right. Now I'm going to do his coat now. Watercolour is all about light, and it's all about the light coming from the paper through the paint. And if you have black, which this coat is a black coat. If you had a black jacket, rather, if you had black paint, it would just make a great big hole in the picture, and all the life would be drained out of it. And so I use this colour. It's called neutral tint. You can mix something similar with burnt umber and French ultramarine, and or you could use Payne's grey, Davies grey, that kind of colour. But I think neutral tint is very much a Winsor and Newton colour, which I love particularly for doing grayscale paintings. And then I'm going to get some French ultramarine like that. I'm going to mix a bit of Prussian blue in just to give it a bit of strength, I think. And I'm going to paint that round. So I think I'm painting on the back of the paper. I think I'm painting the wrong side. Anyway, this is Seawhite watercolour paper. You'll find the links down below. I'm not sponsored by them, but it's good paper and at a very good price. I don't know. You can certainly get it in the UK. I don't know if you can get it elsewhere, but it's quality for a good price. So anyway, you'll find my links down below. And I might just add a little bit on the to the glasses like that, because they're a bit overpowering, or they're just not overpowering enough. And maybe a little bit of sort of more shadow in under there, and maybe a bit more in underneath there. We need something probably like that, and it'd just be so easy to add lots more to it, and I just don't know what to do. I think I'm going to call that it. Do you want the outtakes? These are the ones that didn't make it. I've done so many different versions. I think that was not too bad, but none of them are really him. It's very difficult, very difficult. So these are other sketches. That's one I did last night, and I tried on there, yeah. And it's just very difficult. There's something there. There's something there that's really got his impishness, but and there too. But I can't somehow get that on. Never mind. I tried. So thank you for watching, and click down there and make sure you're subscribed to the Shoo Rayner drawing channel. Keep coming back for lots more drawing videos every week. And in the meantime, keep drawing, drawing, drawing. Practice, practice, practice. And I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye bye.